Hey, good morning, folks. It's Saturday, getting close to October, uh, and we are closing in on go time to go to SEMA. So I wanted to kind of wrap up a little bit from this week. I did a couple videos. Let me get some more light in here for us, so stand by. All right, that's probably better. So basically, been driving the truck now, I don't know, a couple weeks, and this week basically drove it every day, going to work, around, spent a lot of time after work doing a bunch of digs and getting all the on-street tuning done. And Palm Beach Dyno really put the hours in this week for me. Sent me several tunes, and we've got the truck running real well. It's running at 10 psi, and I think took it to one of the closed roads around here. I think it was an airfield at one point, and got the thing up I guess in third gear to around 110, starting at like 3,000, and we're running it all the way up to 8,000 RPM on the JPC short block. 10 psi. Transmission's been hanging tough. Haven't been putting in a four-wheel drive, since the overheat, or running it hot, I guess. Even the whatever you call it, the transmission shop, that they were like, yeah, that's pretty hot. I wouldn't keep running it that way. So anyway, I've got about 400 miles now since basically first drive. About 250, 280 since break-in oil drop. So I think the max, I know we don't buy these things for gas mileage, obviously, right? But I wanted to know, basically with the setup, just turbos, and just street driving it, because in my case, this is this is replacing the house support vehicle as a truck, right? So it's got to be able to go to Lowe's and put 4x8 sheets of plywood in the back of it. And I love my Daytona and drive that, but it's not really practical going back and forth to work and stuff. And so how did the truck do? Well, it's got the 26-gallon tank in it versus the 36 that was in the truck before, but it's still managing. And I did just a one day don't get in it and just drive it over the mountain and all that stuff. I was still averaging 19 miles to the gallon city. So that's really good. Of course, in boost and doing digs and all that stuff, I think I'm around 9 or something. So overall, for the last week and a half, I'm at like 15 miles to the gallon average. Like yesterday, I went out and got pizza and stuff with it. So it's running really good. I'm dealing with the normal the normal post build, nut and bolt deal. Just make sure everything is tight. I'm obsessed with rattles. If I hear a noise that has any frequency to it, I tend to want to go chase that thing down. So and I'm not sure if that's the aviation mechanic in me, or what, or maybe the OCD in me, I don't know. But anyway, I think that's a good safety gate for me. So this weekend, the goal is I'm going to just kind of go through the truck a little bit. I have noticed a couple, I guess a couple harmonic noises, mainly in the area of the left front wheel, and I got a couple squeaks in the back, and this might just be normal. I know that my when stock form truck, trucks do kind of squeak a little bit, and I know before I took the truck apart, it had some squeaks and stuff. So I want to make sure that everything's tight and the squeaks are just, sorry, squeaks. I've been sick for now 2 weeks, just still getting over it. But if I've always believed that if the vehicle is making a noise, it's telling you something. So don't turn the stereo up. At least, due diligence, go inspect. So certainly if you can catch these things sooner than later, they don't become bigger problems. And most of my builds are that way. If we worry about the small things, the big things will take care of themselves. And typically the end project is better for it, both aesthetically and mechanically. So anyway, to that end, I've got a couple things we're going to address this weekend, and I'll do the updates as we go. I did a very good walk around of the truck using a different camera. There were a couple comments while I was at work. I brought a different camera, not the GoPro, and did a walk around, and that should follow here in a little bit. And you'll get to see the truck in the sun, in a parking lot, not in my driveway, and with a much, I guess, better camera, I guess. And I think you'll get to see the proportions of the truck. I need to get it next to a Raptor or Raptor R so that we can see the dimensions. The thing barely fits in the lines for a parking spot. It's pretty wide.
All right, well, I brought the truck to work, and you guys have been wanting a walk around of the truck with not the GoPro, which has goofy, I guess, dimensions, I guess. So anyway, so here's on a better camera, and we'll just kind of walk the truck around in the parking lot here and see how you see if that shows the dimensions a little bit better. And then I gotta take off and go run some errands. Still don't have the splash guards in it, but for all the wheel wells, I'll be putting those in here in a week or so, after I get done doing the big surprise. So we'll see. And then I think we had some comments about the front panel there. Let me get back to the sun side. So yeah, so this panel right here looks different than these two panels, but it's actually the same. So it's just the way the truck sits, like the flop, I guess, on the panel. Not sure. Maybe it looks different in the video, but depending on how you look at it, it does tend to blend. But anyway, again, I painted this about 2 weeks ago now. Well, more than that. And this is 2018, so yeah, I probably could do a little bit more blending between here and here, but we'll see how we end up. Anyway, let me back up one more time, and there you go. So hopefully that works for everybody. I think this camera does a better job of showing the proportions.
Oh, and then going back to while we're just doing the, kind of review for the week. The biggest thing I think I like about the truck, of course, the power is nice. One of the major complaints I've always had with the F-150 for just a daily is that it's pretty harsh in the back unloaded, and that makes sense because the leaf springs in the truck is meant to tow a bunch, so it's got to have that ability to do that and drive. Well, consequently, if you go over bumps or whatever, the tailgate and the whole area in the back of the bed tends to be pretty harsh. We can watch the beds of these trucks, stock trucks, go down the road. If they go into a pothole, the bed is kind of all over the place. So with the Factory 5 XTF, we dumped the leaf springs, and we got a true 4-link. And in my case, since I'm running in street, I've got 4-link front and rear sway bars, and I have a panhard bar. All of that, all to say, is that the truck runs more like a car, I guess, in the way that the suspension, you know, like if you look at the pre-runner stadium trucks where they go over the jumps and, you know, the back hits first, and you would expect the truck to kind of like jump a little bit or whatever, but it absorbs, the rear suspension kind of like sticks to the ground and doesn't upset the truck or the chassis. The XTF acts an awful lot like that. Two benefits are the smoothness. I mean, if you've got the windows up and it's just stereo at a decent volume, not super loud, just, you know, so you can still talk in the truck. And in my case, because I've got full stainless exhaust in the turbos, and the turbos themselves are super loud, the compressors. Once you get away from that, and you get a little bit of, you know, I don't know, 4 or 5 on the volume of the radio, you really cannot tell the truck is doing 70, 75 miles an hour. Between the tires that I have on there that are not the mudders, and the way the suspension and the chassis work together, it's quite a comfortable ride. Probably more so than, well, I wouldn't say probably, but more so than the F-150 in raw form or stock form. Anyway, that's just my opinion. If you ever get a chance to go down to Factory 5 and drive in there, I think it's the red truck is their demo truck. Definitely take an opportunity to do that. But the truck is definitely compliant going down the road. I can only imagine how it would work, you know, as it's, you know, 3, 4, 5 feet in the air. I'm assuming that it will still retain that same soft landing, because I mean it just eats up the potholes right now. I'm pretty surprised on how nice that works. Anyway, yeah, super nice to drive. It's almost unremarkable how it drives, because it's that smooth. Now, granted, mine makes a little bit more noise because of the turbos and just the way it's set up and with the exhaust. But I mean, even the exhaust that I have, I'm not running the Factory 5 exhaust, of course, because I'm running the turbos. But I don't have that drone inside the cab, which is very cool. Anyway, let me turn this around. Let me show you what I've got planned to attack the the transmission issue. I don't really see a transmission issue. The goal, if you go back a couple of videos from the first drive, I was trying to do 0 to 60 times and play around with the 4-wheel drive system and launch the truck under boost multiple times under 4-wheel drive. And if you go back and look at the videos, I actually got the temperature in the transmission quite hot. So doing some research and stuff, I guess this is inherent to the 10R80, that it doesn't do loads well, especially on the 18. They've got this very small liquid to liquid cooler that shares engine coolant as a heat transfer to the transmission coolant. So if the transmission, you know, is at 212 degrees and my thermostat in the engine is at, you know, 220 degrees, you know, those two will tend to cancel each other out, right? So consequently, I usually see around 200 degrees on the transmission temp after you're really beating on it and stop and go and that. So how does that cross over to driving with a trailer if I'm not doing high performance runs or 4-wheel drive launches? The 4-wheel drive launch under boost really heated the transmission up, and it's moving those 36-inch tires around. So yeah, I could see that in my head. So talking with my transmission folks that built the transmission, you know, we came up with you know, just understanding the way the 10R80 works. It became clear that we need something else. In 17 and below, they had a radiator transmission cooler that was in the nose, and in 18 up, they went to that small liquid to liquid cooler. So I never had a problem with my 17 towing. It towed just fine. Transmission temps were never an issue. A little bit climbing, like a large hill with the smaller, OEM radiator or heat exchanger, but not to the extent that I was seeing with the 18. So to that end, let me swap this around and we'll do a quick review. Okay, so this is what we got. We got a, I don't know how you pronounce this, Durali Performance cooler with a 800 CFM 10-inch fan. So that's, let's see, it's basically 14 by 13 total, and it's about 6 inches deep. So I'm going to run it all the time. So fan, turn the key on, fan will be running. It's got 2-8s, and then I've got an adapter that's inside for the trainee, and we'll stick that in. And then I've got PTFE lines, got 2 of these 10 feet long. Not sure where it's going to go, but figure better to have an extra length than need it. Actually, that's 20 feet. So I got 2 20-foot ones, so that should be plenty. And then I've got all the PTFE fittings right here. Yeah. So, and then here's the extra line for my crankcase breather, so I can get rid of the other breather filter on the valve cover. So, I mean, that's really what we're down to. And then next week we have some other stuff going on. So you'll have to wait and see that. I'm trying to decide if we're going to have an update next weekend or not. But anyway, so let's get moving. All right. Well, about 3 hours, and we got the cooler in, and hopefully you can see that. So there's definitely space behind it, and it's a pull fan, so the air can basically come down and get sucked in from the front. I think what I'll probably end up doing is I'm going to put a little scoop or something here to help catch some more air. But overall, yeah, it's pretty good. I still have to hook the electrical up, run that wires up to the front. But I got the PTFE line in. Let's see, get in here. So -8 in and out, and 800 CFM fan in here. And yeah, it's actually warm now. I ran it for a little bit and it's got fluid in it, so that's cool. Alright, well, that's good to know. And yeah, so I'll wire this thing up and we'll see how it goes. Folks, so Sunday morning, I think I'm going to take a day off today, so I'm not going to finish the video for this weekend. I got the transmission cooler in. It's all wired up and working. Works real good. Other than that, the temperatures are down. I need to take it for another drive and get, maybe do some 4-wheel drive launches, and maybe when we get done next week, we can go for a ride together. And I was going to hook up the trailer this weekend, but honestly, it's been a grind, and like I said, we got something going on right before the SEMA on the truck, so we're going to call that a wrap for this weekend. And I may skip a week as we're going through some stuff on the truck, so stay tuned. Maybe next weekend, but for sure the weekend after. Again, got through about 400 miles on the truck, and it's working really well. Real happy with it. It's definitely gonna get the Daytona. I have to decide if that thing's gonna stay in the garage or not. It's that truck's pretty fun to drive. But anyway, yeah. So thanks again for tuning in, all the subs and the likes and comments. Reading every one of them. A lot of great comments, a lot of great questions. Again, if you don't see it in the video, in a specific video, or you haven't watched them all, I'm looking at them all the comments, so don't feel like you need to look through all the video, although I'd like you to see the whole process. Just drop me a line and I'll get to it. So yep, we'll see you next week, if not the week after, and then on the road to SEMA. So, and you guys will go with me to SEMA too, so that'll be fun. All right, so peace out.